and welcome to the ABCs of ICDs. I am your presenter, Cynthia Freeman. Today, we're going to learn about ICDs and ICDOs through a quick overview, a little bit of background, um, how one versus the other, the components of each, and some exercises. Overview. Our target audience for the presentation is for CTRs early in their career who needs an introductory overview of ICD-O codes and ICD codes. Also for potential CTR students who are out there that just want to gain information. And as always, our experienced CTRs can expect to learn some information about ICDOs that they may have not had inquired before. Our learning objectives. At the end of this presentation, you will be able to define an ICD code and an ICD-O code. Uncover the differences between ICD and ICD-O. Identify the components of ICD-O codes. Highlight how the codes are used throughout the healthcare industry and any future expectations of what we might be looking forward to our codes down the line. Rules. As always, be prepared with any type of question you may want to ask. No question is a bad question. At the end of this presentation, I will provide you with my contact information where you can reach out and send for any clarification or any questions you may need. If you're listening to this webinar in a room with others or through a telephone, please silence and mute your phones to create an optimal learning environment for everyone. And most importantly, let's have fun. Now let's look into the daily life of a CTR. We have our 5 CTRs down the bottom. One is getting ready to work, one is in the middle of work, and one looks like they're done with work. It's early in the morning or late at night, and you are eager to work. Our CTR is dressed, ready to go, pencils are sharpened, computer is up. As the day progresses, you may be faced with unimaginable feats of records. I have piles of chart to do. I have a long list of patients to look up follow-up information for. And I have 400 pathology reports to go through for case finding. Where does it end? Or you may be stuck on a particular site code or histology that after looking through everything and exhausting all efforts, you just for the life cannot find the right answer. We can take a guess, ask a seer, even phone a friend. Lastly, we look on the internet for help. After searching and searching, we hit success, we find the right code, or we completed our chart. Now it's time to celebrate. And as our last CTR looks like they're having a party at the end of the day with some karaoke, charts are flying. They have had a successful day and is getting ready for tomorrow. I know I've been there. Some days I'm still there, as I know some of you had experience. If you haven't, you sure will. Now let's move on to the history of our codes. The International Classification of Diseases is a global diagnostic tool published and maintained by the World Health Organization. The ICD is a healthcare classification system that identifies diagnostic codes for classifying diseases, signs, symptoms, abnormal findings, complaints, social circumstances, and external causes of injury or disease. The ICD has gone through many editions and revisions, beginning with an idea for the systematic collection of hospital data from Florence Nightingale in 1860. Florence Nightingale had the vision to create some type of system for all of our first in discoveries in healthcare. She wanted a way for us to look back or reach back to those first discoveries in hopes of learning to help when we have new discoveries in the future. And that system was the ICD. What are the components of an ICD code? An ICD code is comprised of diagnostic codes and procedure codes. Diagnostic codes are index of diseases and injuries. They are found in the tabular list and alphabetic index of the diagnostic code section, and they have been adopted under HIPAA for all healthcare settings. A tabular list is a structured list of codes divided into chapters based on body system or condition. The alphabetic index is an alphabetical list of terms and their corresponding codes. There are codes with 3 characters that may be further subdivided by 4, 5, 6, or 7 additional characters. Procedure codes, index of procedures. The procedure codes consist of 7 alphanumeric characters. Character placements are as follows. In the first place is section. Second, body system. Third, procedure. Fourth, body type. Fifth, approach. Sixth, device. And seventh, qualifier. An example of a diagnostic code is as follows. E133211. E13, other specified diabetes mellitus. E13.3. Now we have with ophthalmic complications. We get a little bit more detailed next. 0.32, mild non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy. 0.321, with macular edema. And lastly, 0.3211, right eye. So you can see how it started out, the condition, and as we get more detailed with that condition, it gets all the way down to right eye. An example of a procedure code, DM000ZD. Section 1, D, radiation oncology. So this code started in radiation oncology section. 2, body system, M, breast. 3, root operation, beam radiation. 4, body part, left breast. 5, approach, photons, less than 1 MeV. 6, device, Z, none. And 7th, qualifier, Z, none. So it starts out with just the general section. Then we went on to the body type or body system that was being seen and treated in radiation oncology. What type of treatment was given, the root operation, beam radiation, to what particular part of the breast that was given. It was the left breast. The approach or the amount of the treatment. Photons. Was there a specific device that was used for it? None. And any type of qualifiers? None. History of ICD-0 codes. ICD-0 stands for the International Classification of Diseases for Oncology. It was developed from the ICD codes to identify neoplasms and/or tumor-related diseases. It was created in 1976, and we have seen many revisions, with the first in 2013 to the third 2000. Currently, we have online updates and erratas, and we can find that on our SEER website. Components of ICD-0 codes. The ICD-0 is comprised of site, morphology, behavior codes, and grading of neoplasms. Topography or site codes indicates the origin of the neoplasm. It is 4 characters from C00.0 to C80.9. A decimal point separates the subdivisions of the 3-character category. The first part is for the site, and the last part is the subsite of the site. So once again, we see how we can get more detailed and specific. We just don't know the general term, but we want to know exactly within that site where was the tumor located. Morphology or histology codes. They determine the type of neoplasm and or tumor. Morphology terms have 5 digits, ranging from M0080000/0 to M9989/3. The first 4 digits are the specific histologic terms, and the 5th is the behavior. Now let's jump into more detail for the behavior. It identifies how a neoplasm and or tumor acts. This is the 5th digit after the slash or solidus mark of their morphology code. It identifies whether a neoplasm is malignant 3, benign 0, in situ 2, or uncertain whether malignant or benign 1. And lastly, neoplasm grading describes the histologic differences. The grade or differentiation of neoplasm or its equivalent in leukemias and lymphomas, and it is represented by 1 digit. Once again, the components of an ICD-0 code is your topography or site code, morphology or histology code, behavior code, and neoplasm grading. ICD versus ICD-0. We've already learned that ICD-0 was generated from our ICD codes. There are more differences and similarities between the two. ICD-0 codes include topography for sites of hematopoietic and reticuloendothelial tumors, whereas ICD does not. ICD-0 has more histological type categories. ICD has more overall codes. ICD-0 codes are used by cancer registrars. ICD codes are used by both Health Information Management and Cancer Registry. ICD-0 codes are 5 digits, and both are used to identify medical encounters and problems. Exercise 1. Match the terms to the definitions. We have topography, tabular list, morphology, grade, alphabetic index, behavior. Our choices are as follows: determines the type of neoplasm or tumor, list of codes based on body system and condition, list of terms and corresponding codes, identifies how a neoplasm or tumor acts, describes the histologic differences, and indicates the origin of the neoplasm or tumor. Don't worry, these aren't graded. You will have an opportunity for a quiz after the presentation. So take your time and we'll figure this out together. Topography. We know topography is the same as the site code. Where is the neoplasm or tumor? Looking at our choices, we select F, indicates the origin of the neoplasm or tumor. Next, tabular list. Tabular list is a part of the diagnostic code, and that would be B, list of codes based on body system and conditions. Morphology or histology, the type of neoplasm or tumor that we have. We select A, determines the type of neoplasm or tumor. Fourth is grade. Describes the histologic differences, which would be E. Alphabetic index, another part of diagnostic codes, and that is C. List of terms and corresponding codes. And lastly, the behavior, which leaves us with D, identifies how a neoplasm or tumor acts. Exercise 2. Identify the parts based off of the statement given below. Patient A has a well-differentiated invasive carcinoma in the upper outer breast. What is our site? Upper outer breast. What is the mass histology? Invasive carcinoma. Lastly, what is the grade? Well differentiated. Exercise 3. Name the ICD-10 code parts. You have two codes, an histology code and a site code. First, the histology code, 8500/3. What is 8500? That is your histology. And the 3, that is your behavior. That is, we know in registry that is 3 means malignant. For number 2, your site code, C50.1. C50 is your site, and the 0.1 is the subset. It's more detailed. Exercise 4. Name the types of ICD codes. There are 2 types of ICD codes from our previous slides: diagnostic and procedure. Number 2. How many characters are used to create each type of code? Procedure codes have 7 alphanumeric characters. Diagnostic codes can start out at 3 and end, after more detailed, to 4, 5, 6, up to 7. So both can have 7 characters. In closing, ICD and ICD-10 codes are both necessary in the healthcare industry. Although they aren't interchangeable, they both play an important role in shaping our future in healthcare. They aid in planning of financials, revenue forecasts, statistical trends, treatment protocols, staffing, and many, many more. That concludes our presentation for today. The next slides are resources and references where you can seek additional information on our presentation of our codes. The first resource page is your ICD and ICD-10 reference list. We have NACER, where you have your ICD-10 codes, all the way through to ICD-10 codes, what they mean and how to look them up. Next is references. This is the documentation or the material that was used to put the presentation together. And lastly, questions. As stated previously, for any questions you may have on this information or where to get information on our subject, I can be reached at cfreeman at mrahis.com. That is C Freeman at mrahis.com. I thank you for attending this webinar, and you have a great day.